Well, welcome back to Bob's Tech Lab. If you're a subscriber, thanks for your support, and if you're new here, well, welcome to the channel. This is lesson number 4 on Davinci Resolve 15, and we're going to focus today on editing audio by using an element called Fairlight. Now, let's get started by explaining that I have a project up here that consists of some slides, some animation, and 2 audio tracks. The green audio track is an MXL 990 condenser microphone, and the yellow track is an audio track that is a Shure SM48 dynamic microphone. So basically what I'm creating here, a microphone test, if you will, or shootout. So we're going to be actually editing this project, and today we're going to focus again on the audio. We have 2 different timelines. The original one, the one you see here, which tells me at a glance by that name that the audio has not been edited in any way. It's just raw audio from the microphone. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to create a duplicate timeline so I can get back to this if I need to edit this project in a different way. So I'm going to click on the name, which is this one. I'm going to click in the timeline, which is, you notice the red lines. Then I'm going to go up to edit, and it's going to let me duplicate the timeline. So now what I'm going to do is say 04 Fairlight. Okay, so that's where we are now. So again, to navigate, we started out here. We have a copy, which is here. The reason there's 2 different audio timelines is within Fairlight, I'm going to be able to edit the entire audio clip on that line. So that's why I have 2 tracks. These are 2 different microphones. When I try to do equalization, it may end up being identical, but it may be that because the microphones have different characteristics, I might need to do something different from one than the other. This will become clear as we proceed. Let's go to the project settings. I simply went down to the gear. We're doing 1080 high definition, 24 frames per second. Same thing with video monitoring. I set that earlier when I did the project, and that's what that's going to do. Let's start editing the audio. Everything else has been done except enhance the audio. Now, what I mean by enhance, there's 3 elements. One is, do I have the right length? Do I have any de-amplify, if you will, certain sections? So that's the physical part of the audio. Now, the quality of the audio depends on equalization and compression, and a few other things, but we'll see that as we go along. So now we need to go from the edit mode into Fairlight. So we simply click on the icon. We're going to be dealing with the green first because that's the first microphone, the MXL 990. I'm going to click in the timeline, which makes it red on the outline, and now I have 2 more tools that I preset. One was the mixer, and one is the inspector. Now I'm going to play a little bit of this. Right now we just want to find out what volume do we have. This is a microphone test. This is a microphone test of the XML 990 condenser microphone. Okay, that explained that. Looks like we're fine. I didn't see any red. We're not clipping. Everything is fine. So now what I want to do is let's go in and double click on the EQ. And now we're on track A1, which is the MXL 990. Track 2 is going to be the other microphone. Let's go over here and add all the bands. 1 and 6 were off. I've just turned them on. I'm going to turn this knob to about 70. Just depends on which microphone I'm using. I'm going to change this a little bit down to about 14. Oh, that's close enough. Okay. What do we got here? Let's change this, all these symbols, the same. I want Q factors, and I have those. Q factor all the way up, gain all the way up. Let's move this over here and play. The Berlin Wall was erected by Communist East Germany. Okay, that's way too much bass, so I'm going to bring it down to about here. Let's play it again. And the Soviet Union, and not a little bit less. And now I'm going to take the Q factor and I'm going to move this. See, I'm going to round it out just a little bit. Initially, I crank it all the way up because I want to pinpoint the bad frequencies that's in this microphone. 1961, to keep skilled East German workers. Oh, do you hear that echo? And we were clipping. You saw the red? Just crank it down right about there. Let's play it back and see if it sounds better. And intellectuals from fleeing to West Berlin. Okay, very good. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to leave that Q factor alone. I think that's fine where it is. An urban enclave administered by the United States, Great Britain, and France. By the there's another hollow, echoey sound. That's what I want to eliminate that. Okay, we've got one more. 5 is going to be somewhere in here. This is the very high-end frequency, and you'll hear it. In the 1980s, it had become a symbol of the tense relationship between East and West during the Cold War, as well as an enduring symbol of... Okay, you hear those S's? We need to turn it down about like so. Let's go back and hear it again. Well, as an enduring symbol of Soviet oppression. See, Soviet was okay. But when it was up here, boy, those S's just kind of echoed, and it's not good. All right, that's it. The second thing we want to do now, bring this up. We want to hit compression. It's by default on 3 to 1. It's kind of where it wants to be. I think for demonstration purposes, I'm going to grossly pick the wrong one. On June 12, 1987, U.S. President Ronald Reagan spoke near... Okay, you heard that when I cranked it all the way to minus 60, the audio was just really, really bad. It cut too much frequencies out, and so I want to put it back. The wall in front of Berlin's famous... Now, generally, when you use compression, you might need to make up gain. In other words, it may lower the volume too much. So what we can do is let's go just pick 1. That's close. 1.1 is close enough. Famous Brandenburg Gate. Reagan's speech echoed the... Okay, we're at minus 10. That gives me some leeway. I don't want to clip. I don't want to distort. That's fine. Let's go back to the editor. It's just easier to navigate this way. And I want to click on the second microphone so we can do the same thing. We go back to Fairlight. Now we're going to enlarge this track. We're going to click this over here. We're going to click in the track. Oh, we've got 2 of these. Okay, let's correct this. Let's go and change the track type to mono. There. Chancellor Cole. That's better. I don't need stereo. Mono is good enough for voice. This is audio 2. In fact, we can go in here and say Shure SM48. Okay. And if we look over here, oh, there it is. So now we know we have 2 different microphones. So now we get to do the exact same thing we did before. We're going to double click on equalizer. We're going to click on the bands. See, now you know why I have 2 audio tracks. To start with, let's see, 16, no, that's too much. Let's go back the other way. That's good enough. All right, we're going to change the bands to what I call the rotary. All right, let's go back over here and put the gain up. Governor Mayor Deepen, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, that's too much bass. Let's bring it right about here. Let's flatten this out just a little bit. All right. 24 years ago. That sounds pretty good right there. President John F. Kennedy. But there may be something with this frequency. So let's just go through the same drill. He visited Berlin and speaking to the people of this city and the world at the City Hall. Well, since then, 2 other presidents. There's some echo there. Let's lower that. See, that's why you have to do it one at a time, because you hear things that you would not normally hear. Come, each in his turn to Berlin, and today I myself. There, hear the echo, and it was also clipping. We got to get rid of that. My second visit to... Perfect. It killed a whole lot of birds with that 1 stone. All right, here we go. Last one. Your city. There was 1 sign the Soviets can... Okay, those S's are bad. We'll just do it this way. Let's see what we got. That would be unmistakable. That would advance dramatically the cause. Okay, that looks good. Let's go back into The dynamics, we're going to compress this. Well, 3 to 1's good. Threshold looks good. Of freedom and peace. Let's change the gain by 1, close to it. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace. That's good. That's loud enough. Okay, so we're going to double click that. Let's go back to the editor now, because we actually have completed editing the audio. Now, this is a very simple video. It has only 2 audio tracks. Again, this is just the basic fundamentals of how to use Fairlight when editing audio. Well, once again, thank you for watching. Oh, don't forget to save your project. This is a microphone test. This is a microphone test of the XML 990 condenser microphone. The Berlin Wall was erected by Communist East Germany and the Soviet Union in 1961 to keep skilled East German workers and intellectuals from fleeing to West Berlin, an urban enclave administered by the United States, Great Britain, and France. By the 1980s, it had become a symbol of the tense relationship between East and West during the Cold War, as well as an enduring symbol of Soviet oppression. On June 12, 1987, U.S. President Ronald Reagan spoke near the wall in front of Berlin's famous Brandenburg Gate. Reagan's speech echoed the message of another famous American at the Berlin Wall some 24 years before. In 1963, U.S. President John F. Kennedy uttered 4 famous words: Ich bin ein Berliner. I am a Berliner, in a similar show of defiance in the face of Soviet oppression. When Kennedy gave this speech, the mortar was barely dry on the edifice. Although many East Germans in 1987 still looked to escape, their enthusiasm was tempered by an improved system of fences, barbed wire, watchtowers, and other security measures, and by steady handling of string of hardline Soviet leaders. This is an excerpt from President Reagan's speech. Chancellor Kohl, Governor Mayor Deepen, ladies and gentlemen, 24 years ago, President John F. Kennedy visited Berlin and speaking to the people of this city and the world at the City Hall. Well, since then, 2 other presidents have come, each in his turn, to Berlin, and today I myself make my 2nd visit to your city. There was one sign the Soviets can make that would be unmistakable, that would advance dramatically the cause of freedom and peace. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberation, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Test out.